Tom Mann said, it's not xenophobic to not want to feel that we are living in a foreign country. This is what Tom Hunt said. So Sophie Ridge was asking Tom Hunt to clarify what he means by this. And this has been his reply. I think if you walk into a town center and you hear people speaking in English is almost a rarity, that kind of means they're not integrating. This is a lack of integration. So according to Tom Hunt, if you speak a language other than English in the UK, certainly in his constituency in Ipswich, then that means that you're not actually integrating. So Adam, I speak 4 languages, so certainly according to him, that means I'm not making any effort to integrate. I don't know. I actually is a very interesting kind of way of putting, of comparing lack of integration with speaking different languages. So basically, it goes on by saying, if people do not make the effort to integrate, you've got problems in the country. What I find interesting is he never in this interview, despite being grilled by Sophie Ridge about what he actually means in practice by making effort to integrate, he's not able to provide any sort of example of how he expects migrants to behave. He actually says, migrants who integrate are people who are behaving in a way that is expecting of them. So it would be interesting to ask, Tom Hunt what he expects migrants to do. Migrants who are in the town center, they're speaking different languages. Does he want them to kind of, wave the British flag? Does he want them to eat fish and chips? What does he expect? What are the actually cultural values of Britishness that he wants, migrants to uphold and celebrate? I would be very curious to kind of, understand. As a migrant who was trying to make effort actually to integrate, I would be curious to see what that even means. So I just wanted to conclude this by saying that, when Sophie Ridge continues to grill him on basically examples of what he means by behaving in a way that is expected of them, he just talks about shop theft. So he's able to conflate essentially immigration in his town center, which, to the extent of my knowledge, hasn't got many migrants in the first place. But he's basically saying, well, for example, in the town I represent, we've got shop theft on the rise. Well, that is interesting when you're asked about immigration and you suddenly start talking about shop theft and you say that it's basically migrants who are behind shop theft. So we're seeing, again, we're seeing politicians, in this case, we're talking about Conservative MP, but, there could be probably examples from other parties, who are trying to stereotype migrants again into the kind of, into the...
should be scared, playing politics of fear.
Exactly. So I think that's quite worrying because, I was actually, I'm not going to talk about necessarily my personal experience, but I had a few incidents of racism shown towards me just because I was speaking, a different language, a language that the person who was in front of me wasn't able to understand. And it's quite sad, really, that, in the 21st century, we are seeing in the UK and also in other countries, including my own, these kind of rise of nationalist politics that is actually harming people. And I just want to conclude by saying that migrants, or at least working class people of any kind of ethnicity, of any nationality, are always going to be oppressed by the same system that oppresses, English people. So, and I think what some political parties try to do is actually to divide, working class people, trying to turn, British nationals against actually British working class nationals against, migrant working class people, which they're probably succeeding, but I'm a bit sad and worried about what the UK will become in the next few years.